channel. This is Red True Crime, Rebecca with Red True Crime, and I'm going live from YouTube. We don't do very often. Um, so, a couple things. I wanted to comment on the missing Maya baby case. Such a sad, sad state of affairs, how that has ended. I don't understand what's wrong with people. If you can't take care of a child, then give it to somebody. Give it, there's foster care, there's so many other ways this could have ended. And the fact of the matter is that both the parents have been arrested for drugs, the grandparents of both sides have been arrested for drugs. Where was the other family? Where was social services? What the heck is going on here that it took all this time for one to discover the child was missing, and two, for them to find a decomposing body in the house that the child went missing from? I mean, I don't understand that at all. And I dare say, if social services had already removed the older kids, why weren't they more involved? If these people had such a bad case study, they should have been more involved and removed those that baby away from them. And it's so sad. It's just so darn sad. And you keep hearing these cases of fathers getting mad at the mothers and they're going through a divorce and they kill the kids, or the mom is upset with the father and kills the kids. I mean, what is going on? I mean, I don't understand. I mean, it just seems like parents are just losing their darn mind, and I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But yeah, I mean, this is just an awful thing to talk about. But that was one reason why I went live. The other reason I'm going live right now is I keep getting some person on my YouTube channel keeps asking me to print receipts or give you guys receipts of the things I'm talking about with Marissa Carmichael. So let me be very clear. Marissa was a sex worker. That is not up for dispute at all. She was. I have got conversation after conversation after conversation with at least 7 or 8 different people who have said this. You know, Sarah Carmichael can sit there and say all day long her daughter didn't sell her body, she just sold food. She is full of it, okay? There's also the fact that Sarah Marissa didn't do drugs. She's got a marijuana possession charge from 2023 that she was still going to court for. She didn't do drugs. Okay. She only stopped to pick up Xanax on the way to the club that night when she went missing. So I don't understand any of this. And yeah, she was a sex worker. I got sent video. I got a conversation with the person who has the video. And it she kept saying, I asked her, I said, "Hey, I got this video. Can you tell me more about it?" She's like, "Okay, when was it?" I told her I didn't know. And she was like, "Oh, that stuff's old." I said, "Okay. But was she a sex worker?" Yes, she was a sex worker. Everybody knew that. That's not news. Everyone knew that. I said, "Well, Sarah's saying she wasn't a sex worker, she didn't do drugs." She's like, "Sarah does drugs." Maybe if they were honest about who they are and who she was, she'd be found by now. You know, this is from somebody who posted the darn video on YouTube, on Facebook. When, I'm not sure, but it was posted on Facebook. And I have that. But it's graphic. I mean, you've got her running up some hotel stairs with no pants on. She is like naked from the waist down, running up concrete steps. And then the next thing it goes to her laying down somewhere having sex, you know? And then there's an ad showing her in lingerie in front of a hotel mirror saying, $40, pull up to the red roof. In. Just because she didn't get busted for prostitution doesn't mean that she wasn't a sex worker. Emmy. Okay, hi, Emmy. And that girl dances. Can you say hi, Libby? Okay, so yeah, she was a dancer, but they had their privates, which is where sex happened for money. Like I said, multiple people did this. There are multiple people that said that she was throwing her kids outside so she could have sex in the house for money. So again, I don't understand why I'm catching hell from everybody. Hi, Moni. This stream is about Marissa Carmichael. She's a missing mom of five from High Point, North Carolina. She went missing January 14th in Greensboro, North Carolina. And a point of contention has been, was she or was she not a sex worker? And evidence shows that she was. She was never busted for it, but there's enough Instagram, there's enough Facebook videos, there's enough just crap she was saying on her own page that proves this. People kept saying she didn't do drugs, but she just got busted for marijuana um, last year, and that she was, taking pills, Xanax, big on Xanax. So, like I said, I don't understand why I'm catching hell for putting out the truth about who she was. Now, and they keep saying her past sex work has nothing to do with her disappearing. We don't know that. We don't know what prompted her to disappear. We don't know if she's dead. We don't know if she ran off. We don't know. We don't know. But the police in Greensboro have made it clear she is not being sex trafficked. She's not. And a friend of the family who's talked to me, who's known Marissa for a very long time, said Marissa didn't need to be trafficked. She did this on her own. She did this willingly. You didn't have to like force her to have sex. She just did it. So I don't understand why so much is being said that she wasn't, because she was. So she was 25 years old. She had her first kid at 15. She was hanging out in hotels, and there's photographs of her and her friend on her Facebook page when she was like 12 or 13 years old, hanging out in a hotel room. Who does that? I've talked to multiple people. I've talked to multiple people. One guy admitted having sex with her when she was underage, but he didn't know that she was underage at the time. So I don't know. Like I said, this whole thing is very frustrating, but I keep getting this woman who keeps messaging. I keep saying things. Can you show receipts? I am not posting her sex video on YouTube. Not happening. Okay? I'm not posting naked pictures of her. Not happening. So, but if you do any research for like all 3 seconds, you see this stuff. And yeah, and I agree with you, Pot Pot. Most likely she is no longer alive because it's been almost 6 months that she's been missing and no word. But like I said, this is a case that I've been following. I've been doing videos on for the last 4 months, and I've got people, other YouTubers, vilifying me, saying, "Oh, you're being cruel to this family. You're not being nice to the victim." I'm not being mean to the victim, but you can't ignore her extracurriculars. You just can't. You have to talk about it because it is part of who she is. It's part of what her lifestyle was or is. We don't know if she's gone. But yeah, the world we live in, I agree with you. The world we live in is insane. And then, she has 4 kids. I'm sorry, 5 kids. Her youngest has skeletal dysplasia. He has no arms. And then, the guy that is the father, supposed father of the youngest four kids, the kids are in foster care. The kids were removed from her back in October, months before she went missing. And this guy's trying to get these kids, but then you look at his world, he's got multiple domestic violence charges. He's got drug charges. He's got dealing charges. He's got animal abuse charges. In what world does he think he's going to get these kids? So, you understand the motivation for protecting smoke, but what do you think the motivation is for denying the drugs and prostitution? Who does that protect? I have no clue. My only thing I can think of is if they can keep it quiet, or if people start investigating the prostitution and the drugs, what road is that going to go down, and how many other people are going to get exposed? Because there is a person who's been in contact with me that is a PI, and this person stated, in their opinion, that Marissa was probably prostituting herself at 12, and her mother, probably shoved that along. So if they look too deep into this, Sarah Carmichael could potentially be held on sex trafficking. There's multiple people that are giving this woman drugs, pills and everything else. Apparently, she has a Percocet craving, and I think there's a lot of people that are willing to lie just to keep information from coming out altogether. And it may be them protecting somebody that we don't even know is a part of this. But that's all I got right now. The sad thing is, Marissa's most likely gone. And then her kids are supposedly about to be put up for adoption. Now, that's been something that's been back and forth. The news media released this, like, I think on Monday, that the kids are being put up for adoption. Sarah has come out and said, no, 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 the father's trying to get them. But again, how was he going to get them with all of this in his history? Like, recent history. This is not like, oh, he did this 20 years ago. Like, the domestic violence case between him and Marissa, I mean, the last one was like a year ago. They got into it. He hit her in the back of the head with a glass jar. You want the receipt on that? Go to Guilford County, pull up the case report. It'll show you the actual narrative of what happened. So, right. And I agree. Yeah, she was most likely abused from a very young age. I completely agree with that. And, you know, five kids by the time you're 25, first one at 15. One person I spoke with, they're a neighbor who've known the family for about 10 years, and they were like, what the heck's going on here? Lizzie, how is that specific people, grown adults, can't set the example for teens and younger generations? That's a good question. Because I think with a lot of the behavior in this case of the chronic sex, drugs, and craziness, you have to look at the mom. Because someone told me that the mother, Sarah Carmichael, apparently was a sex worker at a young age. And that's how, because Sarah even told me she had Marissa when she was 16 years old. So you're talking about generation after generation. And then this person also said that Marissa's oldest daughter and oldest son, she caught them humping based on something that they saw. Right, exactly. And Smoke also has pending child abuse charges in another county. So I guess I don't see how he's going to get these kids. What's messed up is that the last drug charge he had, domestic violence and drug charge, was in like April of 2023. He and Marissa got into it. He left, went up to the school to get the kids. She called the cops. They went up there to get him, go through his car, and they find all the stuff and charged him with possession with the intent to sell on school property. How's he going to get those kids? Please, somebody tell me, make this make sense, please, because this is insane. I mean, the foster care system cannot be that kind of broken. It really can't. You've got so many people out there that are claiming to be looking for her, trying to do things for her, pass out flyers, keep throwing that the Sean Elili guy under the bus. Now, I'm not saying he's an angel because if you run his number, it pulls up a lot of escort ads. So he's definitely a pimp. No doubt in that. But why would he have to take Marissa? If she was already doing this shit anyway, why would he have to take her? Why would he need to force her? He wouldn't have to. She was already doing it. None of it makes any sense. I think, going back to this, I think Smoke, who is the baby daddy of the younger four kids, whose name is Charles Lindsay, or Gamel McIntyre, depending on which alias you want to use, I think he found out where she was, he followed her, they got into it, and he went too far and killed her. And then everybody helped cover it up. I think Sarah Carmichael knows what happened to her daughter. I think Naja knows what happened to her friend. I think Tasha knows what happened to her friend. So like I said, there are multiple people involved in this case that know what happened. So now we just got to wait for somebody to find her so a case can be created, a trial, an investigation, because it just seems like Greensboro PD has just given up. And that's the thing, like Sarah and them like to do these protests, like at the Exxon where she was last seen, or at the Airbnb where she supposedly went to the party, but no one I've talked to said actually saw her inside that house. So why are you protesting there? Go protest Greensboro PD. Go protest at the mayor's office. Hell, go up to um, Raleigh and protest the mayor. I mean, not the mayor, the governor. Or is it Charlotte? No, it's Raleigh. Anyway, go there. Make an impact, because walking around walking around with a t-shirt with your daughter's face on it and a picture of the guy in the back that you think took her is not going to solve this problem. So, thank you, Lizzie. I appreciate that. But it's frustrating because I don't want anybody to think that I'm looking down on Marissa, because I don't think anybody who does sex work goes into that like, oh, I just want to be a prostitute. No, I don't think anybody just does that for fun. I truly believe people who go into sex work is really a matter of necessity and of survival versus, oh, I just want to be a sex worker. I mean, I don't think anybody does that for kicks. Um, I honestly believe Marissa had a drug habit, because that has honestly been brought up multiple times. And, substance abuse issues are psychiatric issues, I mean, substance abuse disorder exists. My late husband had a substance abuse disorder issue. He was an alcoholic and he loved his Percocet. Chewed them like they were Tic Tacs. And when you have those kind of addictions and those kind of problems, it's so very hard to break it. Um, I mean, the pills and the booze didn't kill him per se. Like my husband didn't kill him, but it broke his body down enough that he had a seizure and wrapped the car around the tree, and that did kill him. So one led to the other, in my opinion. So how do we know that Marissa didn't overdose on something that night and they disposed of the body? Or she ran into Smoke, or Smoke found her where she was. Sorry. And overreacted and went too far, smacking her around. I don't know. But she has to get found for those questions to be answered. Because it's sad. I mean, these kids have missed Easter with their mom, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day. She may not have been the best mom, but she's still their mom. And they have a right to know what happened to her. So I put this out there to all those who watch these videos. If you know something, say something. Because so much time has gone past. I mean, you can reach out to me anonymously, and I'd be more than glad to relay the message over to the cops. You know, but oh, that's good, Lizzie. You definitely should put that out there. Um, I mean, I have two daughters myself. You know, one's 19, one's about to be 22. And we've always had that discussion about the drugs and the sex work and all that in our house. Like these are not things you do. And they don't drink, they don't do drugs, they don't screw around. I mean, they don't do anything. Um and I think that's something that needs to be more put out there, because I think on some level when these young girls get involved in this, I think it's to a point where it's almost romanticized, and like it's made them to feel like it's exciting work to do. And I think that is the worst thing that could happen. So not enough is talked about sex work. Not enough is talked about um, drugs and alcohol and everything. I mean, just so much needs to be dealt with. Oh, Lizzie, your daughter's 17? Okay. Yeah. You're hearing more and more girls younger than her getting involved in this. And Mama Guy, I didn't see your message, so it got retracted before I could read it. But like I said, these girls are getting involved in this stuff, and it's just crazy. To me, she didn't look like she was dressed to go out partying that night. Looked like she went to take care of something. That's just my opinion. Right, and I agree with that. She did not look like she was out to party, but there are text messages I've seen between her and Mo Dallas, and it was agreed that she was coming out that night. So I don't know if she was just going casual or what. But one thing's for certain, her mom did not know she was going out to party. Her mom thought she was going to Waffle House to work. So it's possible she dressed like that to get out the door so her mom didn't think anything was up. Because she didn't want her mom to know she was going out to party that night. Right, and I agree with you. Yeah, I keep getting blocked by Echo. I wish someone would push the protest idea and fundraising a reward for information. Yes, I completely agree with that. I think a reward should be fundraised. I think they also need to do the protest to the police and to the governor and to the mayor. Just hit them all out. I think protesting at the Exxon and protesting at the Airbnb is not the way to do it. So, but yeah, like I said, today would make again, she's been gone almost 9 months. It's been insane that she's been gone this long, and I don't understand why nothing else is being said. Um, so I'm gonna run back down over the timeline for those of you who are not familiar with the case. On January 13th, Marissa, her friend Naja, who's been living with her and her family, got into the car driven by Tasha Poplin, who is a cousin to Marissa, also a friend of Naja and Marissa. And Tasha drove Marissa and Naja into Greensboro, but they stopped, and Marissa bought some pills off a guy in a wheelchair. And his name I do have, but it's his street name, and I'm not going to put that out there right now. So they went from there to Mo Dollah's house. Now, Mo Dollah's, for those of you who don't know, is a club promoter or event promoter here in Greensboro. Now, if you look up Greensboro, North Carolina, and you look up club shootings, you're going to see where there's been some shootings here in the last few months, and they've been taking place at his events. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying they're happening because Mo Dollars wants them to happen. And I'm not saying that he did this or anything like that. It's just unfortunate that every time he has an event, not every time, but lately when he's been having events, this keeps happening. So there's that. Well, anyway, they all went to Mo Dollars' house. Mo and Marissa allegedly started having sex. Naja was like, I'm leaving, and took an Uber to her boyfriend's house. Now, Marissa found out later that Naja was gone. They texted back and forth about that. No big deal. So Mo and Marissa go from there to a pool hall, and then from there to the 117 Sofa Lounge and Bar, which is where they spend the rest of the night. So they're there, having a good time, partying and all that. And then when it gets close to closing, this is where this guy comes in, Jersey Moneybag, whose real name I don't know, shows up, and Marissa leaves with him. Now, a girl that known as Bubbles stops Marissa and says, "Are you good? Do you know who this guy is?" She's like, "Yes, I know him. We're good." She leaves. Now, after this, things, we hear a couple different things. But the main consistent one is everybody goes to the Airbnb at 444 Gorell Street. Okay? There's cars outside, people inside, but no one sees Marissa inside the house. But it's reported she's in the car with Jersey having sex. So that would be guy number 2 for the night. So at some point, she and Jersey get into some type of verbal altercation, and he drives over to the Exxon, which is not far from the Airbnb. He tells her, go in the store, buy some stuff, because she says this on the 911 call. Throws her purse out, holds onto her phone, takes off. She calls 911 because she's like, okay, he's got my phone. I can't call anybody. I have no way of getting home. Help. So they're waiting on the cops to get there. But meanwhile, Shawnee Lely walks into the store. He's a regular at this store. And asks her, do you need a ride? Now, she knows Sean, because Sean was at the Airbnb. He also works with Mo Dallas. He also knows Jersey Moneybag. They all work together. So there's the connection there. So she gets in the car with Sean. And she's in the car with Sean, and she's using his phone to make calls, all this other stuff. But let's see, 3:41, she makes the 911 call. It's about 3:45 or so, she gets in the car with Sean. Cops don't show up till like 40-some minutes later, and she's already gone. But she's in the car with Sean. She's making phone calls. She's calling her mom's phone. Her mom is not answering. Her mom is sleeping. Eventually, Marissa gets a hold of her stepdad. His name's Tony, but Marissa's mom and dad are not married. Or Marissa's mom and Tony are not married, but it's stepdad. Calls him and says, go wake up Naja. I need to talk to her. He takes the phone to Naja. Naja's like, what? She is like, hey, I need to get hold of Jersey. He's got my phone. And she's like, I don't know him like that. Hands the phone back to Tony, goes back to sleep. Not at any point does Marissa say, hey, I'm being kidnapped. Hey, I'm in danger. Hey, I need help. She's just like, I need my phone back. Call this guy. Right? So, side note, for those of you who don't know this, when Marissa went missing, Sarah kept saying that Sean took her daughter, kidnapped her. Now, also that Sean was a stalker of Marissa and had been stalking her for a long time. So let me state this: if he is stalking her and Marissa's aware of he's stalking her, why would she get in the car with him? For one. For two, if he's stalking her and he gets her in the car, why is he letting her use his phone to call people? I mean, come on. So there's that. And then they're together from like 3:45 to like 5+ in the morning, because that's, she's making these calls. So what happened? Now he says he dropped her off by the Cumberland Courts Apartments. Now, which to me is insane, because the Cumberland Courts Apartments are directly across the street from the Exxon. She could have walked that. Why did he have to drop her off? I think they went driving around a little bit. I also think maybe they stopped off and they had sex. I don't know. Right. And like I said, yeah, Sarah keeps saying that it was Naja's idea to go out. No, it was Marissa's idea completely. And she wasn't trying to get home. She was just wanted her phone back. Not at any point in any of these calls she's saying she's in danger, she's being trafficked, somebody's bothering her. She's not saying any of that. She's just like, I need my phone. Need my phone. So once that happens, we know of nothing else until Sarah wakes up at like almost noon on Sunday the 14th. And then she looks at her phone, she sees there's missed calls. So she calls the number back, gets Sean. Sean's like, oh, Marissa is sleeping. Waits an hour, calls back again. Sean tells her, oh, she went to the store. You can pick her up at this place. But Sarah never goes. But at this point, she keeps saying, give me my daughter back. Give me my daughter back. Why are you assuming she's been kidnapped at this point? And then the stories start coming in on Facebook. People who knew Marissa, people who've been friends with her. Oh, she ran off. It's not the first time. And, why? I mean, none of it makes any sense. Why would you immediately assume this guy has kidnapped her when she hasn't been gone that long? That's a good question. And that's also a good question, yeah. So Mama Guy says, how would Sarah immediately know all of this about Sean Jersey and what happened that night? Very good question. I think maybe some of it may have been pieced together. I don't know. Between everybody's stories, that I do not know. And then Nia Esteri said, but if she was a sex worker, her next client may have been meeting her at the apartment. That's a good question, too. But those of you, if you don't know Cumberland Courts Apartments, it's kind of a low income area, so I don't know um, if that's somewhere where you would go to do sex work. I have no idea. So, I don't know. I don't know. But like I said, Marissa has been missing for all this time. None of it makes any sense. It's like she just completely evaporated off the face of the earth. Completely evaporated. And we need somebody to look. We need somebody to speak. Because this case is driving a lot of people crazy, a lot of local people crazy. Because I mean, Sarah keeps saying that Marissa has gone, was kidnapped, being sex trafficked. The detective on this case, Detective Kenny, Detective Denny, I'm sorry. I talked to him. I actually met with him at GPD, and he said he doesn't believe she's being trafficked because all the press coverage and all that, he doesn't think she's being trafficked. And he said that he didn't think she ran off because she just didn't have the money to do that. That would cost some money, and she didn't have money to do that. So that leaves only one conclusion. She's no longer alive. And it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with this case? Because it's frustrating. You've got people protecting other people. You've got no one admitting what's going on. Just a lot of things is just too much is happening with this. It really is. And I'm at my wit's end with it. Because I've done these videos on mostly on Facebook Live and I port them over to YouTube, I've had so many people threaten me. I've had so many people tell me to be quiet. So many people saying I'm lying. Some people say I'm doing it for clout, popularity, money, all these things. It comes down to she's a person of color, and their cases get investigated less than others. My daughters are people of color. So best believe something happened to them. I'm gonna be up somebody's butt to make sure somebody finds them. But it's just sad that the media just does not put her name out there more. You know. Lizzie, this is why we talk and check in with our kids or friends, because if Sarah would have tried to pick up Marissa, would Marissa not be missing? That's a good question. But at the same time, all the conversations that people had with Marissa, 911, nausea, not at any point did she express that she was in distress, other than the fact that she didn't have her phone. So, and the phone has never been recovered. That's the interesting thing. Jersey had the phone. He told police he threw it out a window. They've never found the phone. So, I don't know. I don't know. So at this point, kids are still in foster care. You start deep diving on all the relatives and the friends of the family. You find out it's a lot of dirt. Drugs, sex, domestic violence, animal abuse. I mean, just so much is going on with this case, and you know, I mean, I get tips from people that don't make any sense. Like I got somebody who sent me a message a couple months ago saying, "Check out this address in Trinity. Go out there." I can't seem to get anybody to go out there and check. Um, well, thank you, Lizzie. You have a good night as well. And she could be out there. I really think that's where she is. She's out in Trinity somewhere, but somebody has to check. And then you have people like, I don't know, these other YouTubers that want to just come bash me because I'm speaking on someone in a realistic tone. I don't know what more I can do about that. But as I said before, if anybody wants to investigate Marissa at all, just do a basic YouTube, not YouTube, but like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter search on her. You're going to see evidence of sex trafficking. Of her selling herself out there. You're going to see it. It's going to be there. And I don't want anybody coming down on me for speaking on this because it's the truth. You cannot live that life without risk. You just can't. It's impossible. So there are my thoughts on the Marissa Carmichael case. She has not been found. We don't know where she is, but we do know she led a hard life before she went missing. So thank you again, everyone, for chiming in. I appreciate it. And this is Rebecca with Red True Crime. So subscribe, share, comment, criticize, whatever. Like this video page. And my thing I always say is be weird, be rude, be safe. If you're weird and rude, they won't take you, and I truly believe that. So, you all be careful. And Rebecca with Red True Crime, I'm out. Bye.